Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Quantum Bridge with myself, Gary. We've got Casper down there. Hi, Casper.
Hello, mate.
Cat. Yep. Hi. So we have a new guest, which is always great. So I'm going to pass over to you, Casper, and you can introduce him for us today, please.
Yeah, thanks, mate. And it sounds like you're feeling slightly better, so that's
Slightly better. There's still a bit of a frog in the throat, as they say. But
that throat chakra.
yeah, I know. It's
anyway, on that note, very, very pleased for the first time to welcome Artto to come and have a chat with us. And without further ado, really keen to get across to you, Artto. Hi, welcome, and please tell us anything that you like about yourself, and then we'll just have a general chat about your life and what you do.
Cool. Thank you for having me on here. And
pleasure.
And so, yeah, my name is Artto. It's Artto. And I'm not a Finnish guy, but very close here in Estonia, which is just below Finland. So usually people don't know where Estonia is. Then if I say Finland, then it makes more sense, hopefully.
Only to Europeans.
True story. So it's right next to Russia, so just to the left, over the border. So, but it's peaceful here, thank God. So that's good. But overall, yeah, I'm 41 years old, married for, what is that, 14 years or something. And yeah, I've been discovering life a lot and found wonderful things which have benefited me a lot. And today I'll be touching on these things, mostly on the divine love, which is one of my favorite topics ever, since I discovered it like almost 20 years ago. Yeah, so, and a little bit also on cryptocurrency projects like Quartal and
I like those
Chain.
two things. Yeah, so Quartal.
We cover all this sort of stuff on the channel, so yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Right in, doesn't it, really?
Maybe because the other stuff's such a big area, and I'd like you to come back and talk about it. I want you to talk about it this time, the spiritual thing, the divine love. It's absolutely aligned with this channel. But maybe just because maybe we can touch on the Quartal thing and the pirate chain first, just because I think we could give an overview of that. And of course, we can have another show to talk about them and about crypto in general. We do quite a lot, but I figure that you'll have much more knowledge and be much more deeply immersed, certainly, than Gary and I are. So it'd be lovely if you come back and talk about that. But if you don't mind, yeah, can you just give a quick overview of what Quartal is and Pirate Chain and its native token and those sort of things? Because I just think people will find that fascinating. And then we can pivot into the more spiritual stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, with pleasure. So basically, just to give some more input to you all, I have an IT background. Half of my life I've been, in IT and doing creative things with IT. And I'm now using Linux operating system, like 9 years. I don't want to use Windows or Mac. I enjoy Linux just so much. Using Linux Mint and Debian mostly. And
just before you move on from that, just for people who, because some people may be coming to this, including Gary and myself, really. Linux, I know a lot of people in my sort of world, decentralized storage and so on, in the digital side, they will talk about Linux a lot. And there will be reasons. They'll immediately have reasons why, certain things mean certain things and are good or bad or whatever. But for those people who have no basis, they just know about, PCs, they know about Macs, but they don't have any real concept of this stuff. Can you just say maybe there are philosophical reasons why Linux appeals to you? I'd love you just to quickly touch on that.
Yes, of course. It's basically, it goes very well together with freedom, because you have absolute freedom in this operating system, or in these Linux-based operating systems.
Yeah.
And you can do whatever you want with this. Basically, you can change, modify anything. You can add additions. You can program stuff if you know how to do it. And the operating system is for free. There is no license costs whatsoever. And you can, set up this for your, business and so forth. And it's being used in business environments a lot, actually. Google runs its servers on it and so forth. It's fast, it's reliable, it's stable, it's beautiful. You can customize everything like icons and themes and, whatnot, basically. Even you have a selection of various desktops to use, not only one desktop. What this means is that's a longer story. And you will not get any viruses there usually. Windows viruses do not work in Linux, so it's immune in that way. And Linux is much more secure in every way. And also it doesn't get slower with time. And the updates don't nag you and don't, force you to do reboots and stuff like that. So it's just an amazing system. It takes less space on your disk. So you have more room for videos and your pictures and everything. And you can get everything done, like PDFs, videos, music, pretty much anything. So I've been using Linux in everyday computer tasks and, everything works. Documents, Excels, automation even. I'm lately even into automating software. So yeah.
Wow. Okay. Because I know that there are people in sort of the truth community and whatever that Gary and I have listened to before who very much push the idea of people getting into at least finding out about Linux and then maybe understanding enough to do certain things and around this idea of sovereignty and not being so much aligned to big corporations and all of that, which again is a very sort of central theme to us around freedom, really. So that just touching on that now, as I said, we might do a whole other show on things like that because that's really, really interesting and valuable, I think. But thank you for doing that. I appreciate it, and you broke it down very nicely as well. So please, yeah, continue with what you were touching on.
So I discovered crypto in 2020, I think it was. Just before 2020. And then, everything was going up and by price, I mean, Bitcoin price, Ethereum price, and so forth. But I kind of thought initially that's easy way to, just make money. Great, Bitcoin goes up, you sell it when it's higher. So, but later on, I started to look behind the technology and the philosophy of these crypto projects and what it's all about. And then I discovered hey, Bitcoin was created to be a separate money system, so to speak, or currency system, decentralized and so forth. And I was like, hey, that's a cool idea. And then I discovered Pirate Chain in 2021. And
how did you discover it? Because it's not one of the most widely known.
I saw it on CoinGecko because it went up massively, and then I discovered from there. And then I looked into the Telegram and their Discord and community, and I was like, hey, I fit in here just very, very well. And then I discovered Jeff Berwick and TCV and other guys who are supporters of Pirate Chain, and I got into what it's all about, what is the meaning behind creating it, and so forth. And I really got interested in, the ethos of the whole project. And
can you touch on what that is then, for those people who have no idea what we're even talking about?
Pirate Chain is a blockchain like Bitcoin, basically, but it's completely private, meaning that all the transactions on this blockchain, and R is the coin that is moving there, basically.
That's their native currency, right? And it literally is ARR because it's Pirate Chain. It's like what pirates would say, R.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Sending you R.
Yeah.
so it's when I send you R, there is no way for anyone else to see how much I sent you, and also
who you are or who I am either, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Anonymous,
it's only between me and you, and you will see that you got some coins, but you even cannot see from your wallet applications from whom it was sent,
right?
Unless I could include a memo. So it's it's the most private cryptocurrency out there. completely anonymous, and it's it's been in existence since 2018. Yeah, since August. So it's almost a long time.
Yeah. 6 years is a long time in the world of crypto. Yeah.
Yeah, and the ethos behind it is to basically give people freedom and privacy, because privacy is very tied to freedom. Because if you are, you can be by yourself, then you can be yourself. And privacy is basically that you have space and you can be yourself.
Well, it's just anonymity, isn't it? Just like anonymity as a person.
Not
If nobody
exactly.
yeah.
It's kind of it's tied to that, but overall, the meaning of privacy is that nobody else sees or knows about some information that you want to keep private.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you're doing bad things or anything. When you go to the toilet, you also want some privacy, right?
Yeah.
There's no anonymity thing in that sense, but some data will be anonymous in that sense. Like, people don't know what exactly you're doing in the toilet, but they can guess, right? But overall,
these are wonderful metaphors.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. So I understood that it's not good if people who should not know things about you try to forcibly do it. Like some operating systems have backdoors, and that's why I'm not using Google things, Gmail. I even de-Googled my phone, or actually I bought this phone with R, and it was de-Googled. No Google there. So, and Linux is also private. I know there is nothing sending my private data or files out to some servers. So I feel safe. And also in privacy, I can feel safe and I can feel free, which is really important to me.
And there's a whole ecosystem built around this, is it?
Yeah. We got merchants who are accepting R as a means of payment.
Yeah.
It's a website like Armada. It's ARRMada.com. You can check it out. And if you want, you can even sign up. And from piratechain.com, you can download yourself a wallet, and you will get an address where people can send you R. So basically, you can start accepting R right away, even tonight. So
yeah, well, we probably will.
Purpose then is it like a currency? Is that the main use?
Exactly, that's the main use case for it.
And it's the main use case within that ecosystem. So we should touch on Quartal, I think, now, because I think those two have some sort of synergy or parallel.
Yeah.
So,
Quartal is.
So just to say for people, Quartal is QORTAL, right? Like Portal, but with a Q. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
P is backwards, basically.
Yeah.
The website is quartal.org. And there's another one, quartal.dev. So these are the ones to check out. But overall, I have also made a long video about explaining Quartal and showing it on screen and so forth, and how to set it up and what you can do there.
Oh, well, we'll link to that then.
Yeah, we'll link that to that. But overall, just to try to make it as short as possible, it's a software that runs on computers. And you can start it up, and what it starts is a thing called Quartal Core. And the core is the main motor behind it, which, talks to other cores on other computers. And these computers where the core is running make up a network, because it will talk to each other.
Then?
Yeah, nodes, exactly.
Right, okay. Yeah.
And it's not a blockchain per se, and the Quartal project is not a blockchain project per se, because there's also a QDN, which is Quartal Data Network, where files are stored and everything. You can save files into that system. And also there is the blockchain side with a native coin Quart.
Right.
And into the Quartal UI, into the browser, basically, which is the graphical side where you can do things when the UI is. Where the core is running, you can use the UI.
The user, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, user interface.
Yeah.
So it looks like a web browser, basically.
Yeah.
And there are many applications there. And also what this means is through these browser and these applications, you can send Quart and also other cryptocurrencies which are integrated into Chordal UI, like
Right.
Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin, Ravencoin, Pirate Chain, and I
That
think
might
that
be
was
it.
all. Yeah, it might be it. Yeah. Yeah. So you can even you don't actually need to download and install Pirate Chain wallet separately. You can just install Chordal and you will have your R wallet address created for you. So you can start
Right.
using R in Chordal.
Yeah.
And there is this Q shop, which is basically like e-commerce place where you can set up your own online shop and you can sell stuff or services for R and Court. So which is really nice. So it's like a parallel economy. You can create that on that. And many have already started that and doing and are already selling their things there, including me. And you can sell courses there. You can sell your whatever, basically. And you can have many accounts in Chordal and so forth. But and there is chat, encrypted chats, encrypted inbuilt emails. There's a file storage option. There's QTube, which is like a YouTube alternative. You can publish videos. There is blog.
So I take that that's not a censored platform at all. Yeah,
exactly. That's completely censorship free. So
is it moderated in any way? Because I always worry about that. I mean, just that aspect, I'm sure others do. I'm not for censorship, by the way, but I do sort of think that there is a role to play when it might be things that are really disturbing. That's all. So is there any, or does anything go on Chordal?
There is only self-moderation, meaning that if you don't want to see some videos or anything from certain users, you can just block them and you won't see anything.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
okay,
and there's also a website hosting built in, so you can host your HTML, CSS websites on it. So there's so many functionalities and new apps coming, and there's more coming, but I cannot tell because it's going to be a surprise.
Okay.
And so developments happening since 2019 mostly, and the blockchain has been.
How close are you to this, Artto? Just a quick question around things like Chordal and Pirate Chain and whatever. Are you actually a developer that works with, for, whatever, or you're just like we would be interested and get involved? To what degree are you part of any of those operations?
In both projects, I'm not getting paid anything. I am just a volunteer and helping to promote them, promote Chordal and Pirate, making videos and bringing people into the community and teaching them how to use it.
Yeah.
And using it myself as well. I mean, both of them, Pirate and. But I am a member of Pirate Chain, by the way, of the team. I became a team member a few years ago. But I started out just, regular community person, and later on got into a moderator in Telegram, and I'm still a moderator in Telegram, removing spam and scam and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's my part mostly.
I'm wondering, Artto, is there at the moment with the coins and the way you spend them, things like are they sort of have a comparison in a fiat value? Is that how it's valued, like dollars or pounds or whatever? Yeah, that's how it still sort of goes.
It's possible. Yeah, it's possible to see the value of them in dollars.
Okay.
But Court is valued against Litecoin mostly, and the Litecoin value then kind of like translates into dollars in some ways. But by the way, there's also a trade portal built into Chordal UI where you can swap Bitcoin to Court and vice versa, and Doge to Court and vice versa, and R to Court. So you can even trade crypto there.
Wow. So do you think there's like me and Casper, we have like a crypto card. I have like a WireX one, which allows you to spend crypto.
I know that.
MasterCard. Yeah. Do you see that sort of thing coming, or is that a little bit too in the system type thing? Where we'd be able to go and buy bread with R, that sort of thing?
Very good question. I am running, or I am one of the leaders here in Estonia and Estonian Chordal, community. I actually just started doing that and being that a few years ago, and just a few days ago, I was in a meeting with some local Estonians. We talked about bringing in, like tens of people into the Quirtle community from Estonia and merchants. And the plan is to grow like very big, and also to set up Court and R as community money, in that sense that we won't be swapping that into fiat. We will keep it in Court and R and doing business with each other.
Physical business, actually buying, because that's a bit like the Let's. I don't know if you're aware of these sort of. We had Tim Jenkin on. You may like to watch that one, actually, where he sort of championed. He's one of the people who championed this whole thing of these sort of environments that are moneyless, but where effectively you are selling products and so on, but really you're giving of sort of time and energy into that system without any direct financial reward. It's not driven by the finance, it's driven more by the sense of community, actually. And it's a lot more in depth than I'm touching on there. But what I sort of was alluding to is, have you been influenced by that sort of approach, that sort of moneyless environment, but now with the ability? I like the idea of having crypto as an intermediary for that, certainly where you can discern which crypto, and therefore you might be more aligned to that crypto's values than you certainly are to fiat currency, for example. So I just wondered where that the genesis of that. I think it's a great idea, by the way, and a great initiative. But where did that come from?
I think it may be influenced from the mindset of an anarchism, or
fair enough.
And also realizing that money is just some tool for valuing something valuable. So we don't need to use money, or fiat currencies. There are other ways. And actually, just last week, it happened that I went to the local gym. And there's this manager of the whole place. And I talked to him, and he has some IT equipment there, which needs, support and, Linux installations and whatnot. So we agreed that...
Well, it does now. It does now.
Exactly. And so basically we agreed on this, that I will help out with IT things, and he will give me the 3-month card of using the gym. So no money involved. It works.
It's fantastic. I think we all feel, and this touches a bit more, we won't get time to really go into it, but on the more sort of spiritual divine love aspect, this sort of more heart-based stuff, that I think a lot of us and a lot of our audience resonate with the idea of just this exchange of energy, of however you want to view it, and that we don't need a third-party intermediary to be involved in every other aspect of our lives.
Exactly.
Yeah. How are you finding the sort of uptake on these things? Because it takes a while to get used to, I think. Like we use the Stellar blockchain, which is a bit like you were saying with the Quartal, where things are priced in XLM. It will still have a sort of pound or fiat representation, but the assets are 1 XLM or point whatever. So it takes a little adjusting, but you get used to it after a while, rather than looking at, you do have that pounds and pence value, so we have something that we're familiar with to relate to. But actually, after a while, you just look at it, the XLM price. So it's sort of just a mindset change, isn't it? I don't know how you're finding that easy for people, or is it something they struggle with still?
Well, it's still a struggle, and it's even a struggle for me. So how we value one quart, for example, and it's right now like 10 cents in dollars. It's really low. It's been like over $1 or something. But yeah, I guess that's because of the whole crypto market is pretty low right now. So that kind of influences that. But I guess the volatility is, something to consider always in this crypto market business. But I guess it's manageable. As you know, I've noticed that Court is not at least doing very much, but just kind of stable. And R has been pretty stable, like in 18 cents, something like that, mostly. So that's nice to see. Quite useful to use as a currency in that sense. So yeah. Yeah,
Well,
and
at
that's
least it's actually backed by something. I mean, these
Mhm.
things like Stellar and XRP, I mean, I don't know how you feel about some of these slightly more mainstream coins, but, you know, Andar and Quartal and Modern Court, the idea is that sort of over time, you recognize that there's a lot of work and value going into these ecosystems and these various blockchains and so on. Whereas if you look into what certainly currency is, not true money, i.e., backed by gold and silver or by something tangible, it is just a debt note. I mean, it is, or it is just money on a screen that implies debt. So, in the end, this has got. We feel this has to flip, and maybe it happens tonight, right? But that it has to flip where people do recognise that there is no intrinsic value in currency.
yeah. I've also wondered, like, what is the intrinsic value of gold? Yeah, it's useful. You can use it for building things, but overall, like, some people just agreed, hey, let's use gold. Like, doesn't have any intrinsic value. We could use oxygen because it's also even more valuable. Our lives depend on this, especially underwater. So, so yeah.
No, agreed. I mean, my only recourse to that would be that gold has had this perception of value for a long time. There might be a soul element of gold, actually. There might be something energetic about the material itself. There is something about its properties and its purity and its look as well. Its aesthetic that's quite interesting. But I take the point. But what I would say is, but it does. You can hold it. And the thing about a currency, it is just, even if you can hold it still, if you can still get coins and notes, they are still debt. Whereas it doesn't represent any of those things. It represents the value of a piece of gold or a piece of silver. And actually, I think that copper and silver are likely to become in very high demand because of things like you're just touching on there, what's the use? But you've got industrial uses and so on. So it might be that gold doesn't retain that position. But I think something in our psyche, a bit like it's becoming with Bitcoin, to be fair, just sees it as having this intrinsically high value. But it does at least exist, as I said, whereas the others, the currency really, if you look at it, it can be no better than numbers on screen, and it can be far worse than that, in that it can lead to a lot of the problems that we see in the world, I think.
Yeah.
It is. I think it's that thing, we had this with Tim that Casper mentioned. I think the tricky thing I couldn't get my head around still was that what is something worth, you know? And if we didn't have that fiat or some gold representation, what are these things worth, you know? And it's just, as much as we try and get away from these systems, without some sort of reference point, how do we transition? I mean, we could all just decide, you know, that as long as it's just a matter of, you know, you'd have to get enough people on board to decide 10 Rs is worth whatever, you know, and I need 10,000 to buy a car or whatever.
Exactly.
I mean, that seems so far from where we are. That's all I'm saying.
You're right.
Yeah.
It seems so far.
Yeah.
But just to say that I've realized that there is nothing that has a stable value in this world, because things are valued differently depending on location. For example, like water in Africa or water in, you know, some watery place. So even that you can sell with a different price. So there is no fixed price on anything. So it's all up to people who, you know, do business between themselves and how they agree. So it's all comes down to agreement, as I see. And if a community can agree, like, okay, 10R for, you know, replacing you know, car engine for something, so then yeah, we could use it like that. So that kind of would work. Yeah.
In the CES system, they've also played with, or maybe the expanded version of that.
But it's a new mindset which needs
Yeah, exactly. Because you can look at things that are closer to what closer to what we're sort of more familiar with, which is sort of things like hours. You know, you can look at time values for things. So where, for example, you have this interaction with the gym owner, and you get your 3 months, which, funnily enough, is in hours in that sense, or is in time. It is actually you're being paid, of course, for your skills and ability, but also for your time. So actually, many things can be valued in different ways that we do all recognise. And one of those is the time input. Certainly, when it's a service, maybe slightly more difficult when it's a product. But often you are swapping in these environments sort of hours, so your services for maybe another product. So it's a bit more like barter in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's very healthy that we all start to have this conversation and start to think in terms of not having to, because I'm sure also historically, and I'm not talking about thousands of years ago, but even more recently, certainly maybe after the Second World War, for example, when things were rationed and so on, I'm sure there was a lot more that went on in terms of sort of bartering than everything just being down to, it's become, and to touch on the world that we might talk to you about now, it's become sort of the holy grail, that money is everything. Money has sort of become a type of god, and that just can't be healthy for society or the world at large. You know?
True story. Yeah.
Coming down to the last few minutes now, unfortunately.
Artto, I'd like you to consider coming back, or I'd like you to expand on what we're talking about in terms of the crypto space, because you have a very balanced and measured way of doing it, and you have a very nice energy as well. So I'd like to you to consider doing that, and I'd also like to do just one pure podcast on your, for want of a better phrase, your spiritual journey. But before we wrap up, maybe you just touch on, because you said, I think you had sort of a light bulb, an enlightenment moment, whatever it might have been. And maybe you just touch on it for a second to set the scene for sort of why you have such a nice energy and where that came from.
Oh, thank you for noticing and bringing that out. So yeah, I haven't always been like that, and with this nice energy. I've been more selfish and more insecure and into, bad thoughts and addictions and stuff like that, porn, whatever. So that was like 20 years ago or so. But yeah, the light bulb was what I would say or call soul transformation, which is possible for everyone. And what I mean by that is that inflowing of the divine love of the Creator, the God or Heavenly Father, like whatever we call him, he offers his love, which is a substance of his soul, to put it into our souls. And we can all get this when we ask for it. It's just really simple. Just takes a sincere prayer or just request for that. Just, Heavenly Father, open me for your divine love and fill me with it. So when you do that request, sincerely enough and intensely enough and maybe even long enough, then you will feel the answer come and you will feel it flow into you, and it does miracles with you, and it will kind of transform you into a much more beautiful being than you could even imagine yourself to be. And it's enjoyable. It brings peace, joy. It brings energy, like enlivening, purity, good intentions, happiness, and like balance into yourself, into your soul. And it also influences the mind in a way, like takes away worry and stuff like that. So it changes so much, gives soul perceptions, and which you can read other people more clearly. You can sense people much better, and you will also know yourself more, and you will also become to know the Creator, God, who is the source of this love and who is the source of all of his creations, which we are, the souls in these bodies right now. So there's a lot I could cover on this.
I appreciate we can't even scratch the surface of this. Do join us again. Thank you to Bjorn for hooking us into you as well. Really appreciate that. And let's try and have another one of these and look at both of those very separate areas, but they may have crossovers. But for now, Artto, thank you very much for taking the time to join, and let's try and keep in touch and do more of these if you're happy to do it.
I am. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Cheers now. Thank you, Artto. Bye-bye.